Sometimes I feel like one of those hoity-toities. I certainly don't look like one. One of those professional wine sniffers that, can tell you what year a wine was made and what valley it came from, except with lenses. I've actually given a lot of thought to the Tamron 85mm DIVC, and I've given a lot of praise to Tamron. I named their 15 to 30 lens of the year last year. And I made a long video, and I really actually squeezed my brain pretty hard about what to say about this lens. I own every good and some bad portrait lenses that are made for Nikon. What's the issue with the Tamron 85mm? Let's go through some specifics first. How do you describe this? Well, I'll give you a couple analogies and then explain what's going on here. You wake up in the morning and you kind of have that nasty garbage in your eyeballs until you rub your eyes and you can see clearly at what you're looking at. So it's in focus, yet you have this really nasty Prefocus Haze. Now, we're not talking about depth of field where things are out of focus posterior to the subject, but we're talking about if I actually have set my focus right here, where I actually have some really nasty pre-focus issues, especially in high contrast between specular and shadow. And obviously photography is an art, and someone makes whatever choice they want. If you love that, that's fine. There are some hardwired criteria that human beings don't like to see, and that really is kind of one of them. And there's also another issue. A really good 85mm in Nikkor or Zeiss. We're talking about a low element count. There is too much element surface to element surface to element surface, on and on. 13 elements is too much. Tamron, the design choice that they made on this, that's a fault. They made a defective design choice on this. They tried to make it a hobbyist all-around lens. Is that somebody at Tamron made the executive design decision to make this lens kind of great for all sorts of stuff, because it's got vibration control, which a portrait lens does not need, but that doesn't affect its image quality. The issue that it's got is it's got 13 elements and it's designed to remove all chromatic aberration. The issue that this lens has is that most portrait lenses, you cannot focus close with them, just flat out, period. This lens focuses really close. There's too much light reflection going on between the 13 elements. A good 85mm portrait lens only has 6 or 7 elements. This is kind of stupid. You should never put on a lens designed in Japan and then over here put made in China. Okay, just put made in China. Nobody, it's really, this is not important to the lens, but oh, it's designed in Japan. Well, that's great, but it's made in China. That's almost like a very subtle joke. Let's put it that way. There is a defocus, because this is the best portrait lens on Earth as far as I'm concerned. It's the 105mm DC Nikkor. You have rear defocus control. This particular technology is patented by Nikon. While there is a front defocus control, what this lens has is the very nasty, even Nikon will warn you, while this lens does have front defocus control, it will render some nastiness to your image. And this lens has built in exactly what you'll see if you make the mistake of using front defocus control. There's a little button here and you can actually set the defocus control to the front of what you're focused on rather than to the rear, which is what it's designed for. And so that actually woke me up and reminded me of what's going on here with this lens. It has built-in defocus control and high contrast situations especially, and I'm actually thinking that it's either due to slightly inferior coating or the combination of the fact that this has a VR element in it, which is slightly noisy, not that I really care. The portrait lens does not need vibration control, by the way. There's too much light bouncing back and forth between too many elements. The design mistake that was made is making this lens focus too close and have vibration control. No chromatic aberration, because every lens design is a choice in what you want to compensate for. As I mentioned in the prior video, you can decide to bleach something so that it has absolutely nothing. It's like we're gonna sprinkle lye on it and throw ammonia on it and bleach it, and it'll just be perfectly clean. And that's kind of what happens in some design choices, removing chromatic aberrations, some other undesirable things. But everything is a balance. You know, you can kind of like bleach the hell out of something, but you end up with this dead, sterile product that has a couple issues. When you remove something from one thing in a lens, you add something else. All lenses are designed to filter light, and when you got a lot of elements and you have issues with color saturation, micro contrast, depth rendition, on and on and on, a lens is far more than pure resolution. And this lens actually does have some significant resolution issues at f1.8 and f2 and f2.8, not in the periphery, but actually in the mid-range. So while it is perfectly above acceptable resolution at your focus point, the mid-range zone on the frame, not in the corners where most lenses have issues, but even the mid-range zone has some bad resolution issues. And I think a lot of it is the design. There was a design decision made on this lens which should not have been made on this lens. Anyway, those are some afterthoughts because I've been racking my brain on this lens, and so that's the issue. Too many elements, and it has what is identical to the defocus control of the 105 f2 DC Nikkor if you make the mistake of using front defocus instead of rear defocus. And that is aesthetically, no matter what your artistic choice is, it is aesthetically unpleasant. So, I'm not saying this is a horrible lens, I'm just saying it's a lens I could not recommend and I would never ever grab for if I was heading out the door. Okay? Love you, Tamron, to death, but this lens was an executive or design decision faux pas, a mistake, or as the Russians would say, ошибка, mistake. Okay? Thanks, bye.